Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Showed you Claare Gael as William Haltacha. Hello and welcome to Claare Gael. I'm Robert Cutting Cartwell, Robert a Carslach.
Have I heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
And it's my pleasure to welcome you to this bilingual programme in the English language as Sachilg, and in the Manx Gaelic, Chinyanamera, the mother tongue of Mannin Veg Veen, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht and Jurish. Now, William Gell's thoughts on Douglas Bay have taken him back to the 1750s, prompted by the line from Thomas Gray's poem about the knell of parting day. And William Gell says that, but for the moonlight in those days, the 1750s, the crescent of the bay would have been in darkness. Wel, ta sin fórad leis ferish, sgil ferish na brerch yn Grimm yn sgil mychion yn chalion gai. Ach, ta fisain de velish de fear na ben frins. Ach, teer wei courage, de vachlia, teer wei courage, de vachlia na gai, marish gilia en mesich Conrad. Now, during last week's unexpected musical diversion, we heard Cornish singer and musician Annie Bayliss singing the song that won her the Pan-Celtic International Song Competition a few years ago. A couple of years ago, in fact, 2023. We have two more of Annie's songs in Cornish this time. Who cares? Not being rude, that's the name of the first song by her. Piw and Dur. Tashu geisjach ris radio banning, stashu na nashun, viskol scalia mach, vai dulish, Mannin Veg Veen.
Greva glow, skin colon and bones, squares then, rep squares, well there's in ons them when, the sin sing colon and down, and lesbis them birth, propose any worries, against pop nelly a gig when quiver is deal in three, and glocklin less, and Cincy in battle brass, and pure we, then and we, you have again they have, fatal get in the and grief, and ray I will leave. It's only on Scythian ray Scythian and ray o bras alcohol, aga welliga miss inside a gun as one.
Irish singer Annie Baylis singing and playing violin and keyboards there, with Jamie Wakeham on electric guitar and Alan Pengelly forsaking his accordion on that occasion to play the electric bass on that song Pew and Der, Who Cares? Who Cares? And there's more from Annie Baylis later on. William Gell traces now how things developed with regard to lighting, even in his own times. He was born in about 1847-48. And he says, "Still the memory backward trips to the days when we were slips, redolent of tallow dips. How we would, when school was o'er the irksome lessons pore, Euclid and such musty law. Till such time the girl from K's brought the dip, whose feeble rays lighted us our bedward ways." In that reference there to the girl from K's, that name is spelt Kaye', and this was a Douglas firm that supplied candles. Quiggin's Guide for 1848 doesn't mention it, but Quiggin's Guide for 1852, in a list of 3 tallow chandlers, has K, New Bond Street. They're not giving an initial for him. But then William Thwaites' History and Directory of the Isle of Man for 1863 gives him as John K. And, of course, it started off, it looks round about 1850-ish, and John K, by 1863, had premises in Prospect Hill, while he still had a house in New Bond Street. In the 1860s, John's son Joseph K succeeded to the business. More of him anon. A red gus cheer fóda, ball ní an ren Prince Fusa Macari, trud baggart tan in a veil en oil in de ven Prince, as tish ceau in eidach stomek, as gull muna chabelek, falada, cabel stoma as ebli deg a lot, tan ven Prince ceau eidach in a veil nish. Tred a drauschen de cheer fóda, tan in a veil reiches on falada de ve marowich, alde jinnach e lord mechoon drach immergen in a veil, benten den Ben Prince. Tan Ben Prince heen currit de wachel in a guy merish Gilia en Mrs. Conrad. Ach, tia chor ergid de ovri a butchur kabel, de chorsus kion falada de chon les treinigen, ons grinne dorge, te Gultrud en grinne show les na guy dach lei, as te lord rish kion falada dach mora. Te kion falada fregert, as cor ven Princeori. So va tret a Conrad giri goil perche in holt ellen oilek, ti simna gier de goil en edege, as te eignet de reine jai, as jorish en tret te chit back te a chor daier a foltek, na welbegrig ednege. The lyrics of this piece are from a 12th century Irish manuscript, Cugga Gael Regaliv, the War of the Gaels with the Gauls, with the foreigners, and describes the Battle of Clontarf in 1014. Vocal is by Lorcan Mahuna, accompanied by the pipes of Barnaby Brown.
Isn't Can na luiren can mauch nagus abert fotri farastadna rokai rexederam agus rogod cachti an arloch agus atkulo keilo keader ken trachta de rokader kon kitchivre keilo agus is aller opfrong I darn vairach agus folt chachter die ven an arloch agus a clíide trí chríden van chéile. Agus a siach bhíon na chealatín agus rutar bheit blond an ballan bud an barbada an chadacin darla bud de barbada an chadacin darla in táin nach de bhíon duní an dalcha nach ní ar a cheala Gidé nach nó bra ra ceangala agus ra chomriad an ní os a ceanib sa foltin fanlib arna tascad is da chuidib con dyrgib is da tungin Rígan báid Diascar díon del na dach dúibrach Dead ceangach cruid crodach chasadach a báid ag sgrechíb loiv an oes a ceanib Rai retar an bananig agus poganig agus geladí glenny agus samadí abel agus siabra agus shenain
The Manx Viking king Brodir took part in the Battle of Clontarf and was amongst the 7,000 to 10,000 or more killed in the victory of the army of Irish High King Brian Boru, although Brian Boru himself was also killed in that battle. There we heard the pipes of Barnaby Brown, and he was accompanying Lorgan MacMahuna. Fiera to Conrad Gagan Machion Shogus and Shan Rí and Cheer Shaw. As they sailge amach uljuus tachert dag mora, Goltrude Grinne, as a calorte seder of en Francis Fallada, as a nachtse waard, die sonne gier de roil en edegge, nach dodde go perche en voltegge, roche me vissi chordaier. Dinchen Shan Rí day, de goldes immen de gaie mora gainsen ach cajin. As higher heen, chauchulu Jane Yattes, deis de rischen acht lore voigin rish Fallada. As eis daire orus, Jack ons na maren, as rinne keiltje na heen chauchulu J tamag, as jiche a gilje goi as a chalien goi, gouds vat bachlien na gai. As lug tamelt, honnik a chalien liege ser de bollach a voltek, as an acht ren ne lonrige as sal sheen. De leer, doortie, O rie, nish gauw edd Conrad vai, de veli ersen reine jai, gouds de me lesje voltem klai, as cadde, as corer die. Joseph Kay took over the candle-making business with a factory in Lord Street by this time from his father John in the 1860s. And Joseph Kay himself went on to become a Douglas councillor and served as the mayor of the town of Douglas when it became a borough. On the north end of Douglas Promenade at the foot of Summer Hill is the Alderman Kay Memorial Garden. This gives us William Gell's reference in relation to candles anyway to The Girl from Kay's, so we know where she's coming from here. But noting that the poem was published in 1906, there was a successful London musical in 1902 and 03, which continued its success on Broadway and then in Australia, and that was called The Girl from Kay's, Kays. So I think there's a double joke intended here, Kay's the Douglas Candle Firm and The Girl from Kay's the musical. However, having got to here, William Gell takes us back again. But, ere all this had come to pass, a certain noxious, fiery gas was foisted on the better class. A blessing and a boon to men, I hope the term won't break my pen, light carburetted hydrogen. That's a Welsh traditional piece simply called Trio, meaning to try, and it was played by Kerry Rhys Matthews on flute and Tim Harries on double bass, two members of a band called Grimm, which is the Welsh for yeast, taking traditional Welsh music and mixing it with jazz improvisation. Stasiwn yn asiwn, sien radio banning as she Claare na Gael with Sir Clash and Cartnish, Mish Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have you heard tell of our Bobby Bob?
To cared you Clash and Claare na Gael reach the shacht and looked you guller scalia mach and Chircho, Yorish Golgus in a degger radio banning as Raya Kraman Esh Rish. To Claare na Gael master podcast in radio banning to Ragetten Nasty in a degger radio banning heen, yes, na trud and Reicher the podcast yo. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. Now this reference to gas lighting for what William Gell calls the better class takes us to Robert Cutting, 1791 to 1853. He was a mackled man, and turning to A.W. Moore's Manx Worthies, Robert Cutting, he says, was a remarkably clever and versatile man. Born in Mackled, his boyhood was spent as a clerk in an advocate's office in Ramsey. He then went to Douglas, where he became an assistant to Messrs. Gelling, who were iron merchants. While in their employ, he erected a small gas plant and supplied St. Matthew's Church, as well as several business establishments with gas, which had not till then been used in the island. He was also the first to start an iron foundry. So there we are, it was he who got the Gellings to develop into what became Gelling's Foundry. And just to finish off, on leaving Messrs. Gelling, he surveyed Douglas for the purpose of laying down gas and water in its streets. And he was the engineer who constructed the earliest gasworks in that town. Esh henk shed de rie as soel a shed Conrad, as eshen the jai. Gouds er in a voidjen kira as kjan the soos a fault. As honnik and shan rie olje tachert. Voor jaren gin fer bij jou fagene, haie soel. As tre henk a chalien roi baks an jasterbeg, hugge murray. As vrije g an or, wie gin the wolju j shaw. Shen chabliosta winstu, Dregery. Chamu fodum inch de dunje bij j machrimsje. No, tref am I ons saal j mavioes, rembi goil lu, gin sailje chamage. As renny chonor I de geer, ach, as gedege I eg she a chor bi, a gedodde fedden maag weg voi. Voor jaren doort hij. Man a gin a winch dawe, inche den 8 jaren, as hij zo. Esch renny snjauw stjags an 8 jaren, as gauw I toiach der Kenia, as dobberen, as voor jaren, dosheli a cree, as doort hij. On sure ta mish ma hai, tregit jeg a cledden sail, as mish, neen jay Scottish singer and instrumentalist Aaron Jones lives just across the way in Dumfries and Galloway, on the other side of the Gulf of Bride, as it's been dubbed. And here he's joined by a singer we've heard before singing songs in Scottish Gaelic, Rachel Walker. And this is a song called Beggar Man.
Asking lodgings for charity. Would you lodge a beggar man? Oh, lassie with my tarry. A beggar, I'll never lodge again. I had a daughter, and Jeannie was her name. I had a daughter, and Jeannie was her name. She ran away with the beggar man. Oh, Annie with my tarry. got the cant o' the begging tongue, and you hinna got the cant o' the begging tongue. And with me out when I gang, oh, lassie with my tower ray. She bent her back and she bowed her knee, and she put up a black patch upon her knee, and kilted her skirts up above her knee. And a while with him she's gang, oh, laddie with my tower ray. Daughter Jean's coming o'er the lea. She's taken hame her bairnies three. She's got one on her back and another on her knee, and another one's toddling hame, oh, lassie with my tower ray.
Rachel Walker and Aaron Jones, although it was Aaron who led the way there, with harmonies by Rachel on the song Beggar Man. Ren in a veil ulk, cor orm livresus me chomre rioil, as an in a dem egliadi a dunye fusi, as da chalian gai gintjim, as te orm culina shirve shimli, as de berg visser eg me voir, jenach shen brisha cree. Ach van shan ri, na chiadu chow mui liorish doris nach, as geestjach, as deiste ulju vida grei, as dilia ori as dintja G de hit maag as nach, as renne reiche son komere rioil de vei corridori, as she rid jindesach van, de agen choelen as vi. Esh ren en shan ri coré mer a vac, as renne prawelde de rauwen wen fusi njau chaartegge, no na raui de vier ach ne in a veil, as de rauwe wen fusi chaart ver en sjo, ish wat jit de vee en galien gai. Van Prins Gael bogus a chriege tre honneke en eilid as a mine jack, as we ginsmoer jinterlu, as we quiride corriter de chulje veg hoort as chara mai. As we heard there, William Gell referred to the gas being used as light carburetted hydrogen. He goes on. Though with such fine, high-sounding name, the subtle compound was the same which roared with detonating flame in mine's recess, the dread fire damp, that awful signal to decamp, now baffled by the Davy lamp. Another foremost in the van of earnest souls who scheme and plan the safety of their fellow man. And William Gell's quite right there. Light carburetted hydrogen sounds well enough, but another name by which you'll know it is methane. Fire damp. Fire damp generally refers to flammable gases found in coal mines, but most typically methane. And fire damp, methane, was very dangerous in the days when miners had to use naked flames. Now, Humphrey Davy was born in Penzance in 1778, and after an undistinguished career in grammar school, went on to be apprenticed to a chemist, and it was then that he started developing his scientific knowledge. And he went on to invent the miner's safety lamp with very small holes in it to suck in the air to keep the flame going, but not so as the naked flame would be a danger in igniting the methane. Now, Cécile Corbel is from Pontcroix in Finistère and is a singer and harp player. According to this song, every night she goes to bed, she cries. This is Every Night, Bemnoz. Cécile Corbel, who also goes off to the Bois d'Amour in hopes of seeing a certain young man, and there she tells her secrets to the leaves, but they're just lost secrets in the wind and the rain, and every night, Bem knows, she just cries in bed. Now, Humphrey Davy invented the miner's safety lamp back in 1815, but it was almost simultaneously with a safety lamp invented by engineer George Stephenson. That's George Stephenson of rocket fame. William Gell now writes, "And yet, alas, as seen of late, how some rash souls will gang the gate of reckless tampering with fate. How oft bereavement's wail has said that recklessness unduly sped the congregation of the dead." Now, the book of this poem is divided into 9 cantos, but in fact these are just the sections of the poem as it was published in parts in the Isle of Man Times. The first part appeared on Saturday the 3rd of March 1906, the second appeared on the 10th of March, then there was a fortnight's break until the third on the 24th of March. The part that we're looking at, the book's Canto 4, appeared another fortnight on the 7th of April. And I think from that it's a work in progress. He's writing it as he's going. And he's referring, I think, here to the Claare mining disaster which occurred on the 10th of March 1906, when it's thought, one of the theories is that a naked flame, because safety lamps were expensive, not all miners could afford them, and it's thought that a naked flame caused an explosion that killed 1,099 miners and injured many others in northern France. Van dynne pwsi na haes y vein jen jins leis y ven prins yn derchiaw as yn y veil y chaw elia. As charaw eg y ven pwsi falsa y fair ciat. Nod raw I dalid gulion y ryddyn braws al jenach eg. Trefen cledden siejach ni as new as wat ginnel. Ren and shan ri cor feis yn y veil de fregert. Crave a fair jen lid as shen tolchen. Ver wallen a meinster en ek ons lid en acht elje. As gintje kledden skiel. As hug ik kjan nor jorish braiach gi. Nishesh, kreen kranne wel vergein lid shen tolchen. Weg na shen a shaw dregger a ven fusi falsa. De vei courage, roosh ons mullig, tagit choustai gi les trainig en bidach. As de vei tarnit rosh, ongi liorish der havel ben, by stred gestred, der it I gedden bes. Tawos jit der de chronne heen dort en shan ri, mort hawing rei, mo so, Be a gent. And off they fade into the dusk. That was Elizabeth Davidson Blythe on fiddle and Daniel Quayle on bouzouki. They were joined by Scottish musician Keith Morrison on synth and programming there. Elizabeth's tune called Dawn and Dusk. Dashiw geisiach rys stasiwn yn asiwn radio fannin, as yn sio se Claare na Gael was guller scalia mach, mer yn pin Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Did the ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
As treven dera na chulina. Ren a Prince Pusa ven Frins Firenjach. As the kinjach ren a dreil herish riachdoch und she as ons acht banet. As mar so shen Geran skeelmachion a chalion gai, wat a fear na ben Frins. Nish gus toich de naskiel a fiach. Tred a rau va ben reinon, as va nien wegek, na rau fos ach na liano ons na raiegenek. As kiet de rau van peitje chun jou feach, na rau shier bi ege voer, kreier bi wie de jinno. Ma so renny call a minid fo sorrens, as ish fagen sky de fee gol sha skin the flesh, doshil die jenunje gus doorti rische feitje hek. O, de rauwes de veeg, as de rauw eblit on getlacher soel, de berg shiem. Gelees van a vogelen greitjek, van peitje de firrenjach, chin deed gus veeg boerin. As renny bendelt maag as na raiige nek, as maag as an onjeg, as detjeli se geel dorge, as hanny on shen rish tamelt jouwer, gin nis biori ek na parentenek. Now, having referred to that huge Courrières French mining disaster of the 10th of March 1906, which had been caused by a live flame igniting fire damp, methane gas, light carburetted hydrogen, William Gell turns now to a domestic success. But skilful usage at the present has lifted the mantle from the crescent by dint of mantles incandescent. Yet some with pardonable pride, a higher hobby to bestride, would have the scene electrified. And so from homes lit by mere tapers and dip tallow candles and so on, we've moved on to gas, and now from gas to the home illuminated by electricity. But now, he says, we must from scenes so bright, perchance our theme has waxed too light, resume our reconnoitring flight. Note here the teaching of old time, how sanitation in its prime had triumphed o'er the old regime. Well, regime, but regime is an I rhyme here. The old-time, fever-laden drain, consigned to subterranean main, will ne'er offend the sense again. Mark how the wise improvement scheme, so well devised, would almost seem the realization of a dream. Now here's another song from Annie Bayliss, with Alan Pengelly back on accordion this time, with thoughts of their time in Carlow. I'm getting carried away, yes, but they were in Carlow at the Pan-Celtic Festival, and this is called Kederleg.
Nins jugut ne bisviken heb gallows lever hel om gluens commences dragon rei ma habau and nins a so vi am tredre del du ha bel how canna the audion in Wellington gallo me ha them well the lee me hollow colin tray soyan on gluens gelly never and never as one in this a fourth Nefra heb gil godden vi, dan nefra gladens vi. Die engen de nere swift ofra jiga kof. Castanjes en covio, gansi en bora. Hannes se de gomos ma heflok hefra nis. Me ha them well the lee me hollow colin tray soya and ongluans and gelly never and never as one in this a fourth tray. Hello, Colin Tray, Soya, and the bonnet never as one in there.
Annie Bayliss and her song in Cornish, Kederleg, Carlovian, with thoughts on Carlow, where the Pan-Celtic was held, which Annie won in 2023, with her song Ollandra that we heard last week. Previously, waste had just run in the streets of Douglas, but William Gell's thoughts have turned now to the subterranean main sewers, which have brought about such an improvement. Note the sweet hygienic plum. How spacious, airy streets had come to oust the whilom fetid slum. So sweet the plum that some implore, ye city fathers, give us more. Well, ye city fathers, he rewrites in 1906, so very prescient. Douglas hadn't all that long ago achieved borough status by then, so with a town council rather than a town commission, and of course it had to wait for city status until 2022. So sweet the plum that some implore, ye city fathers, give us more. But to the suburbs now we saw, where nature her best art had spent, and art its aid to nature lent to gain the fair environment. Now, I must admit I thought perhaps we were going to the parks of Upper Douglas, but no, he goes on, the nunnery. Here may we trace the footsteps and abiding place of those who would the church embrace. Ciet the rauw a dunne gul trú de Gael, as Gael a fiach gillach mach, as daire a choré, as tre henke fagus gee doortie. Fami rogich menien ri, as de butcherach a regintorm, ach fuddy us liga sermi. Creilies and Gino, Ryan dunne. Imi na sages jach sa Gael doortish, as nieuw feathen tie as Shan ven na saionsen, ni is chebel dat jages be, ach geneiden dat Gael weg. Ma vissu gie na giu nieuw tujem ons kadle trom, as genodu liga sermi a chor be. Segera chauchulu jen tai, ta carnen moed a chart dari, koru hien de jadwer sen as voor jorm. Ons 3 leien, eg moes mijne lei, nim chittet ons kaart, vis guller tarn joris kerkabel bijna, en gid geert, joris kerkabel rije nageert, as a geert jernach, joris kerkabel doe. As maar a velu de goes, dat de gadle, nieuw filieel de ligge sermi. Now, singing in English here, although the members are Irish Gaelic speakers from Gweedore in County Donegal, this is a song, The Road to Donegal.
Gal chunafran du le tal ng raiste Vi an lai corbaishti gus dair din hui She kai su nan yadair mar hiu yil char tain
Gael Willis.
At the coming of the summer, there's a longing in my heart. Time seems slow in passing, but I can't wait to start. Watch the children gather as we all did before, to make that summer journey to Gweedore. Oh, would you hurry, said the driver, we can make the boat in time. The crossing it was easy, to Glanching we to climb, from Dungiven on to Derry, and around by Inishore. Just a few more miles and then we'll soon be home. Is the morning never coming, 'cause I never slept at all? My mind is always thinking of that road to Donegal. It's the best of Ireland's treasures, for me a place apart. It's always on my mind and in my heart. We would go to Letterkenny, I leave Creeslaw far behind, Port na Blah and Pashapaven, Dunfanaghy to find. Always through Claare, on the road beside the shore, and around by Bloody Fall and to Gweedore. With the neighbours there to greet you, that you've not seen for a while. They say that you're not changing, and it always makes you smile. There's a welcome there before you like you never saw before. Oh, it feels so good to be back home once more. Is the morning never coming, 'cause I never slept at all? My mind is always thinking of that road to Donegal. It's the best of Ireland's treasures, for me a place apart. It's always on my mind and in my heart. Is the morning never coming, 'cause I never slept at all? My mind is always thinking of that road to Donegal. It's the best of Ireland's treasures, for me a place apart. It's always on my mind and in my heart.
Well, we got there in the end. I'm sorry, I wasn't concentrating and I started playing the wrong track there. But we got onto the road to Donegal with the voice and bouzouki of Cathal O'Currain, the concertina of Kathleen McGowan, and the fiddle of Kieran O'Weeney, collectively making up the group The High Seas. Renan dunne cor Gael de ynne William a dúirtí. Ach, Dami, ta fis mai de lurem nach jinnum chit de wei ligget ser ljorts, bi riddenach son shigeres en oil ed vain chan ven. Ach rennen dunje cor gelden rish kiert elias son shigeres na jinnach e benten rish bina joch. Well, William Gell has brought us to the ecclesiastical origins that gave their name to the nunnery, traditionally said to have been founded by St. Bridget when she came to the Isle of Man to take the veil to become a bride of Christ from the hand of St. Machald, and of course yesterday was Lael Brige, the St. Bridget's Day itself. At 7 o'clock, Chris Pearson will be here to present 2 hours of the best chill-out music for your Sunday evening, and then at 9 o'clock, Judith Lay presents Sundown to ease us into Monday morning. We close Claare Gael with another brew using the yeast of Welsh band Birim, this time at full strength as a sextet in this piece, which is called Caniadau Tunes, but as you can hear, we've got Kerry Rhys Matthews on the Welsh bagpipes. Ach, Sinead Cartnish, and so until the next time, this is Robert Cattin Carswell, or Robert de Carselach.
Oh, Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night, Eva Machrieriu as Orserlier, as me Yiri and Shed you will you.